Stocks are falling, and so is precious metals. What's going on in the markets? Welcome to SkyWatch TV News for Tuesday, August 4th, 2015. I'm Derek Gilbert. In studio today, a special guest who's got years, decades of experience in dealing with precious metals, and we turn to him for some analysis and expertise. Steve Quayle. Steve, welcome to SkyWatch TV.
Hey, Derek. Nice to be here and talk about something that really a lot of people want to know. What's going on? Let's start out by saying there are no free markets any longer. There are controlled markets, there are contrived markets, and it's all designed to ultimately drive us to a one-world currency. And with all of the loss of our freedoms and now the war on cash, the globalists want everything that we do in our transactions in life monitored and ultimately to be taken away from the plundered masses. So the question that we've got to deal with is, why are the precious metals down while the physical availability has dried up? Well, what most people don't understand is that there's a cost of developing mines, setting up new smelters, refiners, but the physical availability to primary distributors of the coins or bars, whatever bullion, that's what's really anomalous now to this time. Years ago, I made this statement, is we're going to come to a time when the physical spot market will be totally separate from a manipulated paper gold and silver market. The last thing the bankers want is they want to kill all independence, and that's why the war on cash, but also on gold and silver. So as the prices of gold, i.e. and or silver, go down, the premium rises because, number one, there's a cost of production, and it's being exceeded, when the cost of production is basically being devalued against what you can get for your raw material. You can't sell it any longer. But here's what's going to happen. Again, the biggest disconnect I know in the awareness movement of Christians who understand the times we live in and general investors is that they don't recognize that everything they have outside of what they have in their physical possession is on a data bank or in a data bank. And what have we seen, Derek? Just nothing but absolute cyber attacks on every database that people used to hope were safe.
Yeah. And you make a good point, too, about all of this data being collected and gathered. That's part of the whole technocracy movement. They can't control us unless they know exactly what we're using, whether it's energy, food, just water and what we have in the way of currency, and why we're moving toward a virtual currency. Now, people turn to precious metals because they're a tangible asset, as long as you're holding the tangible asset, not just paper certificates. But the spot price on gold, and I had to do a little research on this because this is not an area where I have personal experience, but it's dropped from over $1,800 just about 4 years ago to a little under $1,100 an ounce today, and that's down 15% over the last year. Silver is down 28%.
Correct.
For over a year ago. But as you said, the supply is drying up. Now, the law of supply and demand, I mean, I learned this in Economics 101. When the supply of a product or commodity goes down, the value goes up. So why are they both moving in the same direction?
There's an orchestrated trading algorithm to drive the price of gold down so that the major manipulators can come in and buy it all up on the cheap. They drive the price of gold and silver down in the paper market, but the physical market then follows suit. And basically, there's an old adage in history that gold always goes from weak hands to strong arms. Just with the recent announcement that the Chinese claim they don't have the gold that everyone suspects they have and the others know they have, people were betting that gold would go up because the Chinese are buying it all up. So let's just say this. When one major banking firm in the world owns 95% of the commodities contracts, and that they are known to buy everything up by driving down the prices and then allowing things to blossom, to balloon, and to skyrocket, you know that people who are used to making money by the manipulation market are going to try for one last grand manipulation. And that's what's going on. And I've been in this precious metals business now for decades, 3.5 decades, and what's fascinating to me is the availability has never been this thin. But there are big movers, and like I say, the top two investment banking firms are buying a lot of tangible physical gold and a lot of silver. While they're selling paper, they're buying physical.
Ah, okay. All right. Now, obviously, this is a topic we can only cover just a very small sliver of in the span of 10 minutes or so. Right. But what is your recommendation then for people? I mean, who are looking at precious metals as a hedge against what's going on, or to get their hands on tangible assets instead of just holding fiat currency.
Yeah, number one, delivery is everything, but they cannot expect, okay, everybody's waiting for the bottom. It's irrelevant to wait for the bottom when there's very little available. In one day, as Tom Horn and I just talked about on a previous program, in one day, all available gold and silver can literally be bought up by people who have enough money as individuals to buy it up. So what Christians must understand, they have to have a medium of exchange. For the record, the Christians in the catacombs, they were fleeing the very government that was trying to kill them, but they still had to send people out to buy food, etc. Gold and silver have stood the test of time. By the way, 20 years ago, I said Russia and or China are going to back their respective currencies with gold. Well, it's a given that's going to happen because nobody trusts. Now, for instance, the North American Union and their own currency was a big deal probably, 5-7 years ago. And now that things are changing so fast with the BRICS nation, in essence, the U.S. dollar, remember, this administration said early on they're going to destroy the dollar. Well, they're going to destroy everything. They're practicing a scorched America policy. But you and I were talking, Derek, about all of the retail stores closing. It's now up in the 10,000. That's because the middle class is what causes suburbs to grow, and the middle class was responsible for all of the chain stores going around because all of their econometrics prove that in this population density you can support this kind of a store with this kind of inventory. So as the middle class dies, so does this country. And ladies and gentlemen, it was the small businesses that made this country great. It was the entrepreneurship. And now the people that have, you'd say they should be happy with most of the money in the world. Derek, greed is never satisfied because it cannot be satisfied because I believe it's a supernatural appetite of devils.
I remember interviewing Lou Dobbs back in 2006 when he released a book about the war on the middle class. And it is obviously continuing. Eliminate the middle class, you turn into a return to a feudal society where you've got lorded landed gentry, lords and ladies basically ruling over the serfs.
Aristocracy ruling over the peasants.
And that would be us.
And I got frustrated because I couldn't come up with a word, okay? So there's words like technocracy, but I came up with technecadence, okay? It's a combination of technological decadence, okay? Some people say we're just talking about hubris. No, I'm saying a whole different level because this is a realm where, again, these people want everything. Because, see, Jesus said the love of money is the root of all evil, but the control of that money is the implementation of all evil. And that's what we're told in the book of Revelation. We're going to have a society in which you can't buy, rent, sell, or trade except you take the mark of the beast. People say, is all this stuff the mark of the beast? No, it's a technology because you have to have the beast on the scene. And somebody says, can I take it against my free will? That's one thing that God, you either choose to take it or reject it.
Appreciate your insight. And I'm glad you mentioned that about that because occasionally we'll get questions from people who are concerned that they will somehow, without their knowledge, take the mark. And that's an important point to make. Steve Quayle, longtime trader in precious metals, and a bit of insight and advice as we look forward to the prophetic fulfillment of the coming of the beast and the mark, which will someday make its appearance on earth when the beast emerges from the sea, as prophesied by the Apostle John. The Supernatural Worldview, the important book by Chris Putnam, that's the topic of SkyWatchTV tonight, which airs on the Christian Television Network at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. You'll see that on DirecTV Channel 376, Dish Network Channel 267, and the Glory Star Satellite Channel 117. Or you can watch it live on the internet, ctnonline.com. That's the website for the Christian Television Network. Again, tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Steve Quayle, again, thank you for joining us in studio today.
Thanks, Derek.
I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.